Hey everyone, it's Mari. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Today I'm doing a little first impression / review on a fun product that I recently got my hands on that I'm sure you guys have seen on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever. And that is the Game of Thrones makeup brush set. So this was given to me recently by my boyfriend, and they come in a bag like this. It's like a silver bag, and they each come individually wrapped like this. It has each house displayed on the end of it, and then plus there's a hand of the king. So it is a total of 8 brushes. So before I get started, I want to read a little bit about the product, and I just pulled up, I believe he bought them for me from Etsy. So I just pulled up the page, and on item overview it says, makeup and face painting. Ships worldwide from Hong Kong. And it is an 8-piece unique makeup brush set, Game of Thrones inspired. Winter is coming. Okay, this was obviously not written in English. Like, it's really hard to read. Like, the grammar isn't right, but it does say 100% cruelty free, and the material is zinc. Okay, great, because when I first picked them up, I noticed that they're pretty heavy. Like, they do feel like metal, like they don't feel like plastic or anything like that. And they each come individually wrapped in like a bag like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and unwrap them. Okay, now something that I did notice on the brushes that was kind of strange, and I'll hold it up here. So some of the brushes are like a silver kind of tip right here on the end. And then some, well, actually one is like a shiny gold tip on the end. One is a kind of matte silver tip, and it already has like a scratch on it that like it came with that. One of them is a matte gold tip, and then one of them is black. So they're all different, and that is only concerning to me. Okay, so this one, as you can see, if you can see, it wasn't even like put on straight. So, and I don't know if that was like the purpose of it, but I think it might just be like bad making. Like, came from Hong Kong. It took like 3 weeks to get here, so you kind of never really know what goes on in those factories. So but my hopes are still high. I still have high hopes for these guys after touching them. They do feel nice. So I have a feeling like these were brushes that were already made, and I think they just like might have taken the ends and then put them on these handles. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were made in the same factory as other brushes. Okay, like even this one too, if you can see it, it's not quite like glued on straight. So they do feel heavy and like they would be nice, but I feel like they're put together really cheaply, I guess. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be necessarily a bad brush or a bad application. Something too that I want to mention on the brushes that I also thought was really cool was, like, I'm just going to pick up the House Stark one right here. So it does have the wolf emblem on the front of House Stark. And then on the back, it has the house slogan. So you can see that it says winter is coming, just like any of the other ones. Same with, like, if I pick up the Targaryen one, it says fire and blood, their house slogan on it too, which I thought was really cool on the back. So I am going to get started. So I'm gonna quickly prep my eyes with a little bit of eye primer, and I'll be right back. Okay, I zoomed you guys in a little bit so you can see just a little bit easier. For my eyeshadow, I'm gonna be using a palette that I know is very pigmented and works really well, so I can get a true review on the actual brushes because I know the pigmentation in this palette is fantastic. I've used it for a while now. So I know that they're very blendable and creamy when used with just regular Morphe brushes. And that is the Tortise Pro Palette. And I'm also going to try to use all the brushes. So the House Targaryen brush right here, that is a kind of fluffy, probably supposed to be used as a face brush, but I'm going to use it as an eye brush. I'm going to use this lightest color right here called Classic and just apply it all over the eye. Okay. Pigment is holding to the brush, so that is a good sign. And so far it is just applying like a regular brush would. So far so good. Something that I just noticed that's really weird about this is that it gave me 2 angular brushes that are different color bristles. It gave me a big brush, a mini little angular brush, You know that cheap like triangle thing that they like give out in makeup still, like costume makeup? That is the tip on the House Baratheon brush. So I'm kind of irritated about that because these brushes were like $40. So I guess I would use that to apply like a shimmer because it's like a small dense sponge, you know, that I would normally apply with my finger. I would try to apply it with that. But I don't really have brushes to do like a full eye. Like I don't really have brushes to do like a full eye. Like it's just, it almost looks like they had just like a bunch of random leftover brushes and they just like kind of threw them in here. So it is really strange. But I am going to try to use all of them on my eyes for you guys to see. Okay, and then for the crease, I guess I'm going to use this weird kind of small angular sized one that I normally wouldn't use for a crease. I'm going to use this color right here, down here, called Indie. Okay, and then to deepen up the crease a little bit, I'm going to use this color right here, this purpley one called Profesh. And I'm going to use the same brush, but I'm going to try to just use the kind of tip part of the brush over here to get in the crease and like define it a little bit more, I guess. I mean, like I said, I didn't really get like a crease brush with this. And something too I want to mention when using these brushes, because the end is so heavy, you kind of have to like compensate a little bit for it and grip the brush pretty tightly than you would like a Morphe brush or something like that. Okay, and then for the outer corner of my eye and then making a C-like shape and bringing it up slightly into the crease, I am going to take this color right here called Fierce and mixing it a little bit with this deep purpley color called Vamp. And they do pick up pigment really well. I just feel like this is kind of like an incomplete set. Like I said, I think these might have been just like leftover brushes they had laying around. It's really strange. And then to just smooth up this crease a little bit and make it a little bit more bearable, I'm gonna go back in with that little angular brush and go in with that same color Profesh like we used before. Okay, and then I'm going to apply a shimmer to the middle of my lid. I'm gonna use the little House Baratheon cheap ass sponge. I'm gonna use this shimmer shade over here called Glam. Okay, so it did pick up pigment, as you can see. Excuse my dog barking. And then to blend the colors together, I'm going to take that same weird little pointed one that I used on the outer corner and go over it again with a mixture of Fierce and Vamp. And then the only brushes we are left with are 3 angular brushes. Fucking 3 angular brushes, because we all need 3 angular brushes to do one face look. So I'm going to use the smallest angular brush from House Greyjoy, and I'm going to try to do a little liner with this black color right here called Punk, and just run it, hopefully just run it along that lash line. Okay, and then I will take the second angular brush from House Lannister and do my bottom lash line. I'm going to do this color right here, No Filter. Guys, I just found a brush hiding under my leg, and it was House Tully, and it's this great flat brush that I could have used for my lid, instead of that terrible little triangle thing. So what I'm going to do with this is highlight my brow bone with it because it's just a really flat little black brush. And I'm going to use this color Glam again that I used on my lid. Okay, so the only brush I haven't used is the Hand of the King little angular brush. So that would be the third angular brush that this kit gave me. So I feel like it's kind of redundant. And I'm going to move on to my final thoughts. I feel like this brush set is definitely just for display. I feel like they were a really cool concept. However, they were really cheaply put together. I feel like all these brushes just came from like a bunch of different brush sets that they just kind of glued onto these handles. So I was kind of disappointed in that. I mean, they are like fine, decent brushes, like they applied pigment. However, except for I was super disappointed with the weird triangle sponge thing. Like that is so cheap. That was probably literally like 4 cents from like a sweatshop in Hong Kong. So these are a cool concept. I mean, I would only spend money on them if you plan on like displaying them somewhere, which I'm going to because like I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, but I wouldn't buy these for like daily makeup use. Hopefully later a brand will come out with a better version of them that are actual like brushes made for like a set, you know, rather than getting an 8-piece brush set with 3 angular brushes. Like I said, if you're a big Game of Thrones fan, I think they're really cool for putting on display. However, I wouldn't use my day-to-day makeup using these brushes. Okay guys, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. What I'm going to do is use these